What is up? It is Brad with College SportsCast. We are here to talk about who's going to win conference footballs and who is going to make the college football playoff.
Can I please have your attention?
There's all a commotion around here.
What are you talking about?
Let them yap at you.
It's actually very exciting.
All right, guys, welcome in. It is Brad with College SportsCast. We are here for the Big Fuss Show. We missed last week, so I was in Birmingham, Alabama last week. Had a pretty big day on Tuesday and Wednesday last week.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
You hear him bragging a little bit? Do you hear him bragging a little bit?
Just a smidgen. I have to just a smidgen. I mean, little. Just little. By the way, Jason, Ron Slade told me to tell you hi and to give him a call sometime.
Okay, I will. And watch this. This is what I'm going to tell you. I was at the gym the other day, and a friend of mine, an old school buddy of mine, said, "Hey, man, I ran into Pat Bradley, so maybe I might run into Pat Bradley in Little Rock at the gym." Brad, you know how hard that was.
Okay. Well, Pat Bradley was there as well, but he kind of slips off to the side. He was never really out amongst the people. I never really seen him, but he was there on Tuesday doing the show, But I was at the SEC Media Days for basketball last week on Tuesday. That's why we did not do a Big Fuss show last week. But we are back and hopefully better than ever because we got Jason for one thing with us. And we got Hammonds with us tonight.
My name ain't Hammond, it's John.
If you're on Facebook, you can help support us by sending stars, or you can subscribe to our page. It's only 99 cents a month, so you can do either one, and that will help support us to continue to make more content.
The deal of the century.
Yeah. For 99 cents a month. You can't get nothing for 99 cents.
Not anymore, not even a pop.
Anymore.
Well, 50 cents.
No.
Where you getting a pop 50 cents?
You can't get nothing for 90.
I buy the store out. If I get 50 cents, I buy them out.
Yeah, no kidding. You can't get nothing for 99 cents even anymore. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to do the Big Fuss, and what we're going to talk about tonight is I thought we would kind of run through each conference. We are 8 weeks in. We are on week 9 of college football. We are 8 weeks in, and the college football landscape is kind of taking shape right now. So I thought we would go through each conference. We're going to start with the Big Ten and talk about some of the top teams in the Big Ten and where we see the landscape of this conference right now. So, Hammonds, I'll start with you. I mean, the Big Ten still has 3 undefeated teams. So there's only 10, and 3 of them are in the Big Ten.
Yeah, you got Oregon, you got Penn State, you got Ohio State, and
Indiana is the other undefeated.
So it's going to be a race to the finish when it comes to the Big Ten. Indiana plays, I think, in 2 weeks at Ohio State. No, maybe 3 weeks. They played next to the last game of the year at Ohio State, which now could be a really big game, which Rourke, the quarterback, has a thumb injury. They had said earlier in the week.
Yeah, he had surgery today, I think.
Surgery today, and now they think that he's going to be able to come back for the Michigan State game. That was the word today. So Indiana's in that mix. Like you said, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon. Well, I'll even go as far as say Illinois. I mean, they're still kind of
Illinois has still got one loss. Yeah.
I mean, they're hanging in there,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I don't think, to me, I just don't think Illinois has the capability of going to Oregon and winning the way Oregon is playing right now. Oregon is playing at such a high level. I think when it's all said and done, when it comes to this particular conference, I think you're going to look at Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon for those last 2-3 spots when it comes to the Big Ten championship game.
Well, I mean, I was going to ask Jason and then come back to you on this one. So, who makes the conference championship game out of the Big Ten, you think, Jason? I mean, you got 3 or 4 teams that could do it. There's only going to be 2 that makes it. So, which 2 do you think makes the Big Ten championship?
Man, what's really, really funny is I'm a believe in this Indiana team now. I know the quarterback situation it was a little touch and go, and John's elaborated for me. So, man, when I saw them do the Nebraska, man, I couldn't believe it. I could not actually believe that I was watching the Indiana team. I'm talking about putting a
whopping. I mean, they just
and I'll go even far to say, Jason, this Indiana team is better than the 2020 team that was just as good as this team, and I think they're better than that team.
And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, is there an Indiana-Ohio State game looming?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
It's the second last game of the year.
I think that game right there is going to determine who gets the second spot, because I don't foresee Oregon losing right now. I think they escaped. I'm going to say it again. They escaped Ohio State because of the coach was very smart and manipulated the rule on the last play. And so that was very, very key, because I'm a firm believer in Ohio State kicking game. I believe the young man would have kicked the field goal and won it. But, man, I think Oregon, I'm going to say Indiana, because Indiana, it might just be one of those years. So I'm going to roll with Indiana, Oregon and Indiana.
Okay, interesting. John, I mean, that puts, first of all, Indiana's got to play without their starting quarterback and play Washington this week. Now, it is in Bloomington, and they have an offense that's been crazy, but without their quarterback, are they going to be able to handle this Washington team? I mean, Washington's not been great, but
I think they can. I think they need him back before, Ohio State, Michigan State, because those are 2 tougher games, I think, than Washington. I just think they'll take care of business this weekend. College game day's there, which I was kind of confused with the college game day pick, because you had Navy, Notre Dame, you had Texas A&M, LSU, but I think a lot of it had to do with the rise that Indiana's had, and they've never had a game day, and I think that had a lot to do with it, even though the opponent. I think that had a lot more to do with it than them going, because you got to think they've been to A&M, they've been to these other places, and they were given Indiana opportunity.
It looks to me like game day is trying to go places this year that they haven't been before. This is about the 3rd or 4th time they're doing that. So
I want to bring out something real quick, Brad. I noticed earlier today I was reading an article, and this is what the bracket would look like today if the season ended today. I just want to kind of just let your thoughts on this, Jason, because this is going to be enticing.
We're going to talk about the finished bracket at the end.
I know. This is just one I read. Penn State versus Boise, Ohio State versus Notre Dame, Texas versus Clemson, and then you would have LSU playing Tennessee. And these would be all
at the campus.
At the campus.
Yeah, there'll be campus sites.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's going to be so much fun. Y'all have no idea. But going with that, out of the Big Ten here, who do you think makes it? How many makes it to the college football playoff and that 12 teams out in the Big Ten? Because there are 4 or 5 teams here that could make a run still into the college football playoff.
I'll be honest with you, Brad. As much as I'm on the Indiana hype train. I mean, I'd like them to make it. I'd like to see them get in there, but they're going to have to overtake some teams. A&M, these big. It's going to be close because are they really going to put 3 Big Ten teams in, or maybe 4?
If they beat Ohio State,
they might have to.
I mean, and there's a possibility that you're going to have some 2-loss teams. You know, you still got Alabama out there that could possibly still make it. Tennessee's probably due another loss. They play Georgia coming up the road, which I think that's going to be a tough game for them after the way Georgia played at Texas this weekend. So there's going to be some 2-loss teams that the committee is going to have a big decision to make on how to put these teams in, because here's my thing.
Indiana could be one of those 2-loss teams.
Somebody's going to be left out of this. And there's going to be a 2-loss team or a 1-loss team that's going to be left out of this, and it's going to shake up the college football playoff. And we're going to have that. Jason knows how it goes. We're going to have that FSU moment where somebody gets left out and somebody's going to be upset, and they're going to be talking about it. And
I mean, but I really – and
you still hadn't answered the questions. How many Big Ten teams get in?
3. I think 3 get in. I think Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon get in. I think Indiana's the odd team out. I do. Okay. I think they're just the odd team out. But anything's possible down the stretch. So.
All right, Jason, what do you think? Who makes it out of the Big Ten?
Let's see. Okay, my man, I say 3, and I'm gonna go with the latter because if I'm looking at the schedule right, Penn State plays Ohio State in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's
that's going to be a deciding factor for both of those because Ohio State can ill afford to lose 3 games and think they're going to get in.
Well, the thing is, they still got to play Michigan, and I know Michigan's not that great, but that's Michigan, a rivalry game.
I'm not worried
that's
about
a rivalry game.
I mean, Ohio State's probably got the toughest schedule because they play Indiana, they play Michigan, and they play what's one you just mentioned? Penn State. And they play Penn State.
And here's the thing. I know people don't realize Michigan. I know they realize Michigan is not a great team, but that's a rivalry game, Jason.
But they're going to be
that's a rivalry game.
When you play a rivalry game of that magnitude, you can throw the records out the window.
You got Penn State. Penn State got their remaining game. Wisconsin on the road. That could be an upset alert. Then they come back with Ohio State, then Washington, Purdue, Minnesota, and finish with Maryland. So they could knock themselves out. I think it's going to be Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana. I think Penn State might find themselves on the outside looking in as one of those 2-loss teams. We'll wait till we get to the SEC, but I got a question for Brad. Gotcha.
All right. Well, so that is our talk then for the Big Ten. We are going to go to another conference here, and the next one we're going to get to is the SEC, John. So
that's my question.
The top teams in the SEC, let's take a look at them. What do you think of the top teams in the SEC?
I think Georgia's there. I think
Texas.
LSU is in there. That's what I was going to ask about Texas. Tennessee is there. I'm going to be honest with you. And Jason, the Texas A&M game might be the losers out.
Well, you never know.
It's a big game.
LSU,
that's for sure.
LSU plays Texas A&M this weekend.
I say that
LSU and A&M play this weekend.
Don't forget about LSU. LSU and Texas.
Yeah. LSU plays A&M and Alabama right back to back.
Yeah, they play in Alabama. So LSU could find themselves on the outside looking in.
Well, yeah, they could too. But here's the thing I worry about with Texas, though. They've already lost to Georgia, and these other teams are kind of feeling their way in. Is that an elimination game?
No, I don't think so. I think if you look at Texas' schedule, I mean, You might wait a second. You might be able to find one more loss on that schedule, but I don't think you can find two.
No,
I just don't think.
I mean, maybe
Their
A&M.
remaining schedule, John and Brad. Two games that scare me for Texas. And the first one, I can't believe I'm even saying this. Vanderbilt,
yeah.
and Texas A&M at the end of the year.
Here's the
thing
about
they might get one more loss. I just don't see two. They at best they'll be a 2-loss Texas team.
Here's what really,
they get in.
Here's what really makes me excited is Oklahoma and Texas come over from the Big 12. Jason, and in the first year, A&M and Texas might be playing for a huge game to determine if one of them goes to the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that?
Like, if you look at the SEC from top to bottom, you have nothing but what I like to call grenade games. Nothing. It might be a blow up in any minute. From the way that Georgia came on the road and took it to Texas. Now they almost took it from them, but Georgia came down there and looked hungry. Dominated. They looked like the old Georgia. You know what I'm saying?
They did go to eat, according to Kirby.
They looked hungry. They had the quarterback. The quarterback was playing probably one of the best. He was probably playing one of the best in the nation at the time. Made him look very regular. You see what I'm saying? Especially for that first half.
Here's the thing, too. You got a log jam up here in the SEC.
The top is still pretty heavy. I mean,
you got Missouri. They still have to play at Alabama. They still play A&M. They go to South Carolina. Georgia still has to go to Ole Miss and Alabama. Or no, they play home against Alabama, and then they go to LSU. Or no, wait a minute. Oh, Alabama at LSU. That's what I got confused on that. Tennessee plays at Georgia. Texas at A&M. And that's just part of it. Don't sleep on the Commodores, at least being a factor. I mean, they play Texas at home.
Play of the year.
And then they play Tennessee at home. So I think, to me, though, Georgia has the best non-conference win when it comes down to it because they beat Clemson, and Clemson's they're turning it on at the right time. I think, I'll be honest with you, I think Georgia has the best 2 wins in college football right now.
That's not hard to argue, but
because who makes Clemson?
All right, so you have Alabama at the top. Who makes the SEC championship game?
That's Brad. That's impossible to predict at this point.
Well, I mean, now are we just going on?
I mean,
I think Georgia makes it. I think Georgia makes it, and I think
I'll be honest with you. I think it comes down to A&M and Texas at the end of the year.
I think it's gonna come down to LSU and Texas A&M.
Yep.
It's gonna come down to those two. Georgia, to me, Georgia just got their mojo back. Man, we know who we are.
Me and Brad talked about this. I think it was right before the season started. We was doing our previews. I don't know if he was on, Jason, but Brad said we was talking about A&M, and we didn't think that A&M was going to be. He thought it was going to be good. We didn't think they was going to be undefeated in the SEC. But could you imagine in Mike Elko's first season going to the SEC championship game?
It's possible now. I mean, one thing they do have, they have argued.
I'm still not ready to crown them that. I mean, they got a tough game this week to get.
Oh, past. They do. I'm not denying that. They do. But
it's log jam, man. How are you going to determine if everyone has one loss in the SEC? How are you going to determine who, is the top 2 teams to play in the SEC championship?
You're probably going to see.
I still say, personally, I think the best 2 teams are Georgia and Texas. I think that's the best 2 teams. I think that they have the best 2 amount of talent. I really do. Now, does it wind up being that? I don't know. But if I'm going to sit here right now and say it, I'm going to say I think the best 2 teams, talent-wise, is Georgia and Texas.
I still do.
I think
mean,
we'll get a rematch.
I know Texas didn't look the greatest Saturday. They struggled at times. Now, they did kind of squeeze their way back into the game, but then Georgia, like Jason said, they put a clamp on it in the fourth quarter. That defensive performance they put on in Austin was that was old Georgia football. And
Well, they had some defensive linemen back too, though.
If that's the Georgia that we get the rest of the year,
Mikael Williams and a few, they were back.
And Kirby Smart he was fired up on the post game. He was calling out ESPN and everybody. He was getting after everybody.
Let me call it out. Let me ask y'all this, and we're not gonna get into discussion. It's kind of rhetorical, but I wasn't even aware that a PI penalty could be reviewed.
Man, it could be reversed. How about that? It could be reversed.
It's not even reviewable, much less reverse it. I don't even understand. It's not even reviewable.
Well, I thought they could review. I thought they may be reviewing
this year.
I thought they may be reviewing to see who was it on. Like did we say the wrong number or something like that? That's what I thought they were doing. But man,
I never even heard of that, to be honest with you, at all. Like, period. All right. Who makes the college football playoff out of the SEC? How many and who makes it?
I'm going to say 4.
I'll say 4.
4
at the most.
I think 4. But I think it's going to be out of 16. It could be out of – and it's all subjective. It depends on how the regular season plays out.
I mean, hell, at this point, Missouri still has
LSU,
a shot.
Georgia, Tennessee, Missouri, Texas. Them the top 6 right now.
Yeah.
And with 3 underdogs, Alabama, Ole Miss, and possibly Vanderbilt.
I think Georgia.
I mean, they still have an outside shot.
I think Georgia makes it. I think Texas makes it. Tennessee probably makes it. And then you're probably going to have the LSU, A&M, because don't LSU go to Alabama? No, they play at LSU.
They play. I'm not sure. They play each other. I'm not sure where the game is.
It's at LSU. I'm sorry. So I think the loser of the LSU and A&M is probably the odd man out in this one.
Yeah. I think the SEC will definitely get 4 teams in. I think there's an outside chance the SEC gets 5. I don't think that'll actually happen, but I think that there is an outside shot depending on what happens throughout some of the other leagues and stuff like that. But I'll say 4. Texas, Georgia is definitely in. I still think Bama has an outside shot if they can beat LSU and hold down the stretch. I would think out of the 2 lost teams, Bama probably has the best shot, would be my guess. And Tennessee has a good chance still. Of course, LSU and A&M, the winner of that game will have a good shot as well. So I think those are some of the teams that I would say. All right. We're going to talk about the ACC next. And the ACC is kind of interesting. The top teams, I mean, Miami, of course, is the top team. Clemson is right there. And then you've got Pitt and Duke. And am I missing somebody? But, I mean, both of those only have 1 loss. Oh, SMU and SMU. Pitt, Duke, and SMU have 1 loss.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Pitt or SMU and Duke play this weekend.
Pittsburgh doesn't have
Yeah.
a loss. SMU has one loss. Man, in Miami.
Okay, Pitt's still undefeated. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Pitt's still undefeated. Pitt's still undefeated.
Yeah.
SMU's kind of fun to watch. You know, they play that fast.
SMU is fun to watch.
They're fun to watch, man.
I
got a glimpse of them. I like their quarterback. His name is not coming to me right now, but I like the quarterback, guy out of Texas. I mean, Clemson, I wrote Clemson off. The way they got beat, I was like, hey, it is over for Swan down, jump down now.
Yeah, but if you look at their schedule, they don't play Miami. If you look at their schedule,
I'm looking at it.
I think they have a pretty good shot.
Louisville, then that's gonna be one of them games.
But if we're really going to boil it down to the teams that have a legitimate shot, it's probably going to be Clemson and Duke in that top half. Clemson's probably
they don't play each other, but Clemson versus Pittsburgh might swing the voters.
Pittsburgh,
I don't think. Yeah, Pittsburgh is ranked 19.
Pittsburgh's a wild card here because
November 16th could be a spoiler for them.
I think SMU's the wild card.
They're on the road. A spoiler. They're undefeated. Say they stay undefeated. You got that showdown November 16th. That showdown, it is at Pittsburgh. Guarantee game day will be there. Guarantee.
Yeah.
Game day will be there for that one. So imagine how far Clemson could go up in the rankings by then if they continue to run a table. Imagine how far Pittsburgh go up if they continue to run a table, because during that time, I'm going to look at Pittsburgh's schedule. Pittsburgh, they don't have I think they got, take that back. They play SMU in 2 weeks. And so that's
the game right there. I think the SMU Pitt game is the game that's going to swing the conference.
Man, I really do. So that's why I said, let me hold on right quick. Yep. So that Pittsburgh has 2 games they got to worry about. Let's look at SMU final schedule. SMU has a cakewalk. Oh Lord!
Outside of Pitt,
they play Duke.
They play Duke.
Duke is not Duke. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's on the road, so that could be a sit-up game. But that Pittsburgh, that November 2nd game, if they can get past that, they can make a run.
They could. I think Pitt is the wild card here. I mean, SMU is the wild card here. I really do. If they can get past Pitt. And they play Pitt at SMU, I think. I think it's at SMU.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that could be a tough game for Pitt. So,
I'll say 2. I'll say Clemson with Miami. Right now, it's going to be Miami and Clemson. You're right.
When you're talking about the conference championship games, I mean, I think that Clemson and Miami have probably the best chance, but you really can't count out Pitt and SMU. And I know I'm not talking much about Duke. I really feel like Duke will be the 4th or 5th team here out of all of these. That's just my opinion. But I feel like that the winner of the Pitt SMU game will have a real good shot to make the championship game.
No doubt.
What about you, John? Who you think makes it? You think it's Clemson and Miami?
Clemson and Miami, pretty much. I mean, SMU and Pitt and Duke probably have a shot, but it's probably a long shot. So,
okay. So does the ACC get more than one team in college football playoff? Right now, I would say that Clemson and Miami are both in probably.
Yeah, they're pretty much probably a lock, unless you have a monumental collapse by Miami, and you've already said that you think the referees are going to play a role.
They already have. It's not. I think they're going to. They already have.
Oh goodness.
In my opinion, it's pretty vivid, if you ask me, in the ACC here. But I think it probably is 2 at the most for the ACC that makes the college football playoff. If Clemson stumbles before the championship game, I think Clemson's going to have a hard time getting in.
Yeah, because I know they lost to Georgia, but with the ACC the way it is, it's going to be tough.
I think a 2-loss Clemson team before the championship game is going to struggle to get in the college football playoff.
Well, the thing is, you're going to have to depend on everybody else losing, and it's sort of going to be like the NFL playoffs. Like at the end of the year, you're hoping one team loses, and you got to pull for the other team, and either you take care of business yourself, or you have to depend on teams, and you would hate to depend on teams this late in the year.
It's gonna be like that, buddy.
Jason,
it's gonna be like that.
It is.
It's definitely gonna be like that, man. It's man.
You think 2 gets in from the ACC? I think right now it's 2.
I think 2. I think it's 2. 3.
I think it's possible.
Maybe.
I think possible 1. I really do. If Clemson and a couple of these teams take some losses down the stretch, I think it's possible they just get 1.
That's true. That's a big what if, It's crazy that we're actually talking about it right now, because you have to talk about it, because here within the next month, it's gonna be countdown. It's gonna be countdown.
Oh yeah. It's close. We're at week 9 here. So all right, we're gonna go to the Big 12, top teams. What do you guys, who are you looking at? I know you got BYU and Iowa State are both still undefeated. That's the undefeated teams out of the Big 12 right now. There's 2 of them. John Hammonds. Who else do you see? You got K-State up in there.
Yeah,
but Kansas State. I like
BYU and Iowa State is probably going to be your 2 best bets. The other teams are just, there's too much behind them to.
I think K-State's the only other team really that might have a shot.
Maybe Colorado.
I think BYU has a couple tough games on the road.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that the couple tough games on the road, man. To me, they should have lost to Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State this year has just found a way to give games away. It's just one of those years.
Yeah,
guy down there have just found a way. But they go on to BYU. Check this out. 3 road games. They go on the road to UCF. Not an easy place to play. They go to Utah. You know what type of game that's going to be.
Well, that's a big rivalry too.
Yeah, and then you go to Tempe, Arizona State. If they're healthy, that's on the road. Those are 3 road games that they have that, to me, they can't afford to slip up. BYU, they can't afford to slip up any one of those games. But then you look at Kansas State's road. Kansas State, they got Houston, Arizona State at home. The last game of the year against Iowa State is their big one. So Kansas State is my dog, my wild card to come out the Big 12, just in case BYU falters.
All right. Hammonds, who you think makes the championship game in the Big 12?
Iowa State and BYU.
You think it's going to be them 2? I look at BYU's schedule and I think they have, it's set up pretty good for them, if you ask me. Outside of the Utah game on the road, I think that's the game that could trip them up. But they're undefeated. So even if they lose that game, they're still going to make the conference championship.
And I think, too, I know, we talked about not having Cam Rising. Even though they don't have Cam Rising, that's still a rivalry game. It's the Holy War.
And they play good defense, and it's on the road.
It could be a trip up. So, but if I had to just really put it out there, it'd probably be BYU and Iowa State as of now. So I'm not sure how it works out with Kansas State having the one loss to BYU. And I'm going to even go as far as saying this, Brad. If Iowa State gets to the college football playoff, I would give Matt Campbell Coach of the Year.
Well, let's see what happens with Clark Lee and Vanderbilt, because he might get it too. So I'm just saying, let's see what happens the rest of the year with that. But I mean, I agree with you. He's doing a great job. Now, I think the Big 12 just gets one team in the college football playoff. I think it's pretty straightforward. I do not see a path really where they get two in, unless somehow Iowa State and BYU are both still undefeated. If they get through, because they don't play each other. So if they get through to the championship game undefeated, then the Big 12 might get two teams in.
Yeah, that's going to be – I agree with you, man. I don't think one team can get in. I mean, that's all on that. Only one team can get in.
Like I said, unless both Iowa State and BYU finish the regular season undefeated.
I mean, they still got to play a conference game, right? So,
well, they got to play the championship game. But if they get through the regular season undefeated, both of them, then whoever loses that game is only going to have the one loss. And there's going to be quite a few two-loss teams that's in the mix. And that one-loss BYU or a one-loss Iowa State team might get in over top of somebody. I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying there's a chance if both team makes it to the end of the season undefeated.
Gotcha.
That's all I'm saying.
You're exactly right.
What do you think?
You're exactly right, though. You're exactly right. I can agree with that. What do you think, John?
I feel the same.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
All right. So then we're going to talk about the independents. And we got to start with Notre Dame when you're talking about independents. But I do want to throw in one team here that not many people are talking about, and that's Washington State.
Yeah, they're right outside that. They're I think 26 in the poll, and
they've only got one loss, right? Washington State. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's right.
Yeah, it's one loss.
Yeah,
but
Notre Dame has the one loss.
They're going to have to basically run the table if they're going to get there. They're not.
But I'm not. They're not done yet. I mean, with the one loss, if they could run the table, they would be in a position to at least be talked about. I'm not saying they're going to make it, but they would be in a position to be talked about.
Then you got Army and Navy. I mean, you throw them two in
Army
the
and Navy are in the group of five. We'll talk about them in the group of five. They used to be independent, but they're not independent anymore.
They moved. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the only two really is Notre Dame and Washington State. I think that might make the college football playoff. I think right now Notre Dame has a good shot. Of course, they play a really big game this week. Navy.
Well, and that ain't the only big game they play. They play Army in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I know. But this one is a big game for them this week right here. I mean, if they could knock off Navy this week, I mean, that's really going to make a strong statement for Notre Dame being in the college football playoff.
Yep.
Man, Notre Dame,
like I
normally, normally Notre Dame has a cakewalk to the final stretch of the season. And
they do, but not this year. You look at it this year, you're like,
for some odd reason, the football gods gave us Navy and Army.
Army. Yeah.
Army, man, and bless those guys for what they do. They're playing some good football right now. And so Notre Dame better be on alert. And which I know they're on high alert, because the scores I be seeing with Navy and Army, I'm like, man, who are these guys playing?
I know. They used to win games 14-10. Now they're winning games 48-7 and stuff. It's like,
I can't believe. I can't believe.
I'm going to tell you something. Notre Dame better be careful. Horvath for Navy. that kid can play some football. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah, can't wait.
So let's look at Washington. Pull up Washington State's remaining schedule, and let's talk about them for just a minute because we know kind of what Notre Dame's got, and they have a real good shot at making the college football playoff, but they got some big games to win. Let's look at Washington State if you can pull that up and see their schedule because they've only got one loss, and they're 26th right now. You know, if they could continue to win, they might be in that 13, 15 range and have a shot.
Man, I think you're right, Brad. Man, hold on, let me pull it back.
They've already played Oregon State.
Yeah.
They've already played Washington, I think, right?
I'm not sure. Let me get.
Yeah, they beat Washington in the Apple
Third
Cup.
week, I think. Yeah, they beat Washington. Yeah.
Remember that was the
Pretty
game
sure.
that me and you picked Washington. Remember, and we didn't think that Washington State would win, and they ended up winning it in the last minute or something.
Yeah. You got it?
I had to know how this phone started.
You want me to get it real quick?
No, I could put it on the laptop real quick. I was trying to do it on my phone because I had it on there. Then some other things popped up on the phone.
Okay, their remaining schedule, they play San Diego State away. They play Utah State at home, New Mexico away. Oh, they still do have Oregon State. And then they finish with Wyoming at home. I mean, if they could beat Oregon State,
that's on the road right before Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I mean,
if they could beat Oregon State on the road, I mean, this Washington State team could be a one-loss team, and they don't have no championship game to play in. So,
I got you, but a team we're now talking about that has a chance to run the table and put a lot of people on notice is Boise State now.
Well, I was going to talk about them next. They're in the group of five.
Brad,
they're in the group of five.
Brad, you're going to head that direction.
Yeah. I was getting ready to talk about them next. I was just talking about the independents right there, but yeah. So, I mean, you want to talk about, Boise State, I'll just go ahead and switch it. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, Boise State, I have in my college football playoff right now. I think they're the team to beat out of the group of five conferences. And in my opinion, there are several teams to talk about. I mean, you got Army and Navy that are both undefeated. You got UNLV that just has the one loss, and Boise and UNLV play a game coming up that's going to be really, really vital. I mean, if UNLV was to beat them, that's gonna hurt,
Yeah, I mean, you got Ashton Jeanty. He's going for the Heisman Trophy, which if I had to pick today, he would be my Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, he's doing things that's unprecedented. He's catching the ball out of the backfield. He's running the ball. He's basically their whole offense, really. I mean, let's just be real about it. And not even Boise State. Like you said, you got Army, you got Navy.
Yep.
And then there's a couple teams in there that could possibly slide in there.
I think Liberty is still undefeated. I just don't know if they could be ranked high enough.
No, I mean, out of the group of five, you're probably looking at Boise State, Army, and Navy. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've watched the Army-Navy game. Jason probably can attest to this. We've watched the Army-Navy game for decades. and this might be the biggest arm.
I don't ever remember it having some real significance.
This kind of impact. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you know what's so great about that is the fact that whole weekend they're the standalone game. Because if you remember that at the weekend, college basketball starts really kicking off, and
it is.
And you only got
they have a standalone weekend. Yeah,
and that's when college basketball has a lot of games, and you have that one football game, and I've never seen a more significant game than this Army-Navy game. Could you imagine though these teams going into that game undefeated and playing for a right to go to the college football playoff?
That means both of them have to knock off Notre Dame to do that.
They have to. Both of them do. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's going to be a tough task because Army goes to Notre Dame, but Navy actually gets them on. I think is it neutral site? Maybe it's a neutral site. I think, or it might be a Navy.
I'll have to look. I don't really know.
On the DraftKings it says at Navy. So, but some of those can be neutral sites at times. So.
Yeah.
But
it can.
But Jason, Brad, I kind of got to run.
Okay.
But I just wanted to give my thoughts on this. Who makes it out of these three? If I had to pick, it would be Boise State. I think Boise has the best opportunity. They're in that.
So that means, I guess, you're picking them to beat UNLV.
I am. I don't think
because they have UNLV this week.
UNLV's good, but who would they really play? I mean, I'm not saying.
And Boise State just barely lost to Oregon. Like they had Oregon almost.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're going up against.
Yeah.
They're going up against a lot Friday night, and I think Boise State. If Boise State wins this game, I think you can lock it in for the college football playoff. And I'm going to be honest with you, Brad. They don't want to see Boise in the college football playoff. I can tell you right now.
John, here's a wild card question for you before you go. What happens if Boise State wins, UNLV keeps winning and is undefeated, or not undefeated, but with one loss at the end and keeps rising in the polls, and they are actually higher than, say, the Big 12 or the ACC in the rankings, and they get a bye? Because it could happen.
I can just tell you.
It could happen.
And I'm going to be frank, Jason. If I'm a team from, say, SEC, which I wouldn't say SEC. I'm thinking maybe Big 12, ACC. I wouldn't want to go to Boise in that cold weather.
I would.
They'll be up against it.
Playing on the big blue turf. I would.
That's going to be a wild game, man. If
Jason, you played at Tag Coliseum. I don't want to hear it, bro. y'all have a good night, man. Go Cats.
All right, man. We'll see you
go
later.
Rebels. See you, man.
All right, Jason. So I'm going to guess you think that just one of these teams in the group of five makes the college football playoff. And I do too. You know, I do think Boise State has the clear path. They just got to keep winning to get there.
They definitely do. They got to stay on board. And one of my old sayings, keeping it in the road. These teams have got to keep their games in the road, on the road to the college playoff. Man, got to keep it in the road.
Yep. All right. Before you take off on me too, and I think I'm going to have, I think I'm going to have Mindy join me here in about 8 or 10 minutes. So real quick, let's talk about a couple of topics here. And I've got USC and Lincoln Riley. Like, man, it's just not working.
No,
it's just not working. This is year 3, They are 1-4 in the Big Ten.
Man, I hate to see this. I really, really do. It's funny that, this topic, you picked a real good topic. I was just looking at them like in the conference. I was like, wow, man, they actually, man, they've been losing. And you don't think about that. I mean, and it started last year, quite frank. Towards the end of the year. It started last year.
They're like 5. They're like 5-8 or 5-9 in their last 13 or 14 ball games.
You catch LSU early and you get them, right? You get them by 7, and then you think that you're going to go on a run, and then you lose to Michigan, and then you lose to Minnesota. You lose to Penn State in a thriller.
And then you lose to Maryland.
Just lost to Maryland, man.
What in the world? Like, is it like USC has fired a bunch of good coaches over the years? They got rid of Sark. They got rid of Lane Kiffin. They got rid of, I mean, seriously, like quick.
Yeah.
Like they got rid of some good coaches over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, Lincoln Riley's got to be in trouble, right?
Man, I mean, his seat is definitely warm. His seat is definitely getting warm. I think I'm looking at their schedule. They play Rutgers, they play at Washington, Nebraska, UCLA, and the finish with Notre Dame. I see probably out of those 5 games that's left, he could possibly lose at least 2 or 3. That's going to do it.
Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah.
That's going to do it, man.
And what's their schedule? I mean, what's their record right now? Is it 3-4 or something like that?
Man, they're 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they're 3-4 right now, Brad. That's right now. USC 3-4. Man, that's way different, man. That's way different.
Like, I'm just telling y'all, it's not working. The Lincoln Riley at USC is just not working.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to have to part ways. And it's kind of mind-blowing to think with the quarterbacks and the Heisman Trophy winners that he's had and the offense that he puts out there, to think that he would go out there and look like this is kind of mind-blowing.
Man, it's I think, man, all money is not good money. I think he should have just stayed in Oklahoma and tried to build that up. And
because now look at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's trash and USC's trash.
So I mean, he should have just stayed put. He could have got the recruits he needed to get. It's hard to get those guys from the South to come.
He already had Caleb Williams at Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's the only right he got it. That's the only right he got it, because you can't convince too many kids not to go to the SEC right now. Or the Big Ten. Yeah. You if I'm a top guy, I'm in those 2 conferences. Those are 2 of the best conferences right there, from top to bottom.
I can't, if I'm going to talk about Lincoln Riley and USC, I can't leave this one out.
That seat been hot. That seat been hot. Look, I told you a while
what
back.
What blows my mind about this one is he was 13-0 last year. I mean, after the ACC championship game,
he lost a lot of offensive production. He lost a lot of offensive production, and what Nick Saban said: sometimes you can pay the wrong person. They paid the wrong person to come in and be their quarterback. Bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that 100%. But I mean, holy cow! I mean, how do you go from 13-0? Thinking you're going to be in the college football playoff to not only missing the college football playoff and being left out, let's just put it that way. Not only that, then you come back. I just talked about how awful USC looks, and they're 3-4. FSU is 1-6.
Man, they look terrible, man. They look terrible.
1-6. Did you hear me? I mean, that's insane to even think or say.
And Florida State is 1-6, and they're scheduled down the stretch. Guess who their next game is?
They play Miami.
I'm gonna give you a wild guess who Florida State plays on the road at.
I think it's Miami.
Miami. Yeah. Might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. If they get blown out, if they get blown out in a rival game,
yeah. Like it looks,
he won't see weeks. He won't see neither one of those, Brad. If he man, Florida the state of Florida is in shambles right now with their top two schools, Florida State and Florida, taking a back seat to Miami right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree with you. And I think Miami's going to kill them this weekend. I really do. I mean, I would be shocked if it didn't turn out that way. To be quite honest with you, and USC Lincoln Riley, it's just not working. I don't know that he survives. I really don't. I mean, but the thing about Norvell at FSU, and I'll say this to end it. I looked up his buyout.
I was just about to ask you
because they just renewed him because he was 13-0. They would owe him $65 million if they fire him, and they would have to pay him all the way out to 2032.
Man,
that's a lot of money to fire a coach.
That's a lot of money, but I think they give. I think he gets one more year. I think he'll get one more year.
Norvell,
now, depending on how he shows, if the alumni is ready to get rid of him, and I'm gonna tell you this, I know I'm about to exit stage left in a second, and I'm telling you this, I know you're gonna laugh.
Yeah.
If they get rid of Norvell, all roads lead to one of the all-time greats in Florida State history, Deion Sanders.
That might be true. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's not, because that might be true. You might be onto something there.
Just might.
Yeah. I'll definitely say you might be onto something on that one.
Might be.
I don't know. I don't know if Deion will take that on. I kind of think he likes being kind of out away and out in the West and not being in the mix of everything with the SEC and that kind of stuff. I kind of think.
But I wouldn't be surprised. But I wouldn't be surprised if Norvell, due to that high number, that buyout so high, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought him back another year.
Yeah. I think there's a chance just because of the buyout. And I'm not sure about Lincoln Riley. I don't know if he survives USC. Like they fire coaches in the middle and they pay and they have fired some good coaches over the years. And Lincoln Riley, I still think, I mean, Heisman winners and the offense and the things he's done, he's a good coach, but man, he has not figured it out there.
Yeah. He needs to get a defense. He needs to go to some coordinator, go to someone else.
Yeah. All right, Jason. I know you got to run too, so I appreciate it. And I'm going to pull up Mindy here in a second. All right, man. Thank you, Jason.
Right. Okay.
All right, guys. So now it's just me. What am I going to do? Oh, wait a second. I've got Mindy here with me. What's up, Mindy?
Surprise. Hey, I feel like I'm a special guest today.
Yeah. So how have you been?
I'm doing well. I'm excited for this weekend. What are we already like week 9? Is that like halfway through?
This is week 9. Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, it is a little bit crazy.
All right,
that's
so
for sure.
I'm gonna give you your little intro here. So here is Ace in the Hole.
It's time now for Ace in the Hole with Lady Luck, Mindy.
Still the best intro on YouTube.
All right, so this is Ace in the Hole. Hey, I guess I need to put the whole FSU and Mike Norville thing off the screen here. I guess we'll get rid of that. Yeah, we don't need that for this. The whole Mike Norvell thing and FSU. All right, so I got you up on the screen now, Ace.
All right,
this is Ace in the Hole. All right, and our Lady Luck here is here, and we do this segment most Tuesday nights. Last week I was off as well, so it wasn't a big deal.
Okay.
I was in Birmingham. I was actually at SEC basketball media days last week, and it kind of come up and a couple of days before, and me being accepted and invited to go and everything. So
you don't want to miss out on that. That's for sure.
Notice. Yeah, it was kind of a short notice thing, but I had to go. So, but anyways, so this is week 9. I think this is about the 7th time that she has been here with us this year, and we appreciate Mindy being with us. She does give us some tips on betting tips. That's what she is. She is a handicapper, a betting handicapper, and she does a great job with baseball. I do know that. And we're trying to ramp things up here on the show and give you some tips here in the college football world as well. So,
right.
Usually I ask you just how many you have for us tonight. We'll start with that.
4. So I got 2 regular
4
picks.
For us tonight?
Yeah, 2 regular picks, and then I got my best bet, my lock, and my upset.
Lock and your upset. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go with your 2 regular picks to start with. Let's start with those.
Well, I thought, since I'm here, I should get in on this however 50 some days left of football in a row that we have, right? And so we're going to go ahead and start with Syracuse and Pittsburgh. How does that sound for tomorrow?
Okay, tomorrow night.
All right. Yeah,
all right.
Yeah,
because we got football every day right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. So I feel like I can kind of spread some out a little bit here for us. But yeah, it's one of those that we have 2 great teams. I love this matchup, right? Syracuse 5-1. Then you have Pittsburgh 6-0 out there. Lots of cool stuff going on, right? Maybe not what we have expected at the beginning of the season. But Pittsburgh right now,
I'd say not.
I'd say not.
Yeah, I'd say not.
Yeah.
But
it's one of those that
5-1 Syracuse versus 6-0 Pittsburgh was not on the bingo card.
Right. But yeah, it's one of these that both of these teams have good quarterback play, right? They've each put up, I think, about 15 apiece. But I think when it comes down to it here, I'm looking at Pittsburgh to get the money. I'll lay the minus 5.5 here. I have Pittsburgh winning this one by 6, but I'm not too worried just because of the extras that are out there. Pittsburgh has this better defensive efficiency, and it's better by about 11%. It also has one of those overall better efficiencies too, and that's by about 8.4%. So I kind of feel like just where the numbers lay out in this throughout this game, plus you have that Pittsburgh team at home here, I just feel like, man, their defense is 17th in the nation. I'll take them here. I like to lay the points here at home with Pittsburgh.
All right. So we got the Panthers. We're taking the Panthers here.
The old Tony Dorsetts. That's right.
On our first pick. Yes. I actually remember Tony Dorsett. Now, I don't quite
remember him. I may look
him
so young, but I remember him a lot too.
I I don't exactly remember him as a Pittsburgh Panther. He was a Cowboy when I remember him.
Agreed.
But yeah, because I think he was late 70s at Pittsburgh, like 77 or something like that.
Yeah, that's about right. But again, I had my, I was a youngster wearing my blue 33 jersey around the neighborhood with all the old ladies yelling at me because they're like, Mindy, you need to not wear that jersey.
Probably get on for this, but I kind of liked Tony Dorsett.
Yeah.
I wasn't a Cowboys fan, but I kind of liked Tony Dorsett.
It was back there. You just had some guys that I think you wanted to root for, more than not, right? I was never like, a Washington fan, but I loved watching John Riggins play, right? I mean, I wasn't a Raiders fan, but I always liked the old guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good, because John will probably give me a hard time because
hopefully John, is not going to watch the replay
about the Cowboys. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. All right. So number 2, your pick number 2 for us this week.
Even though I'm guessing that is that the John watching us? Is that who that is? Is that the John?
That is. I don't know if he's still watching us, but yeah, he was on there.
All right.
He said, "Hey, Mindy."
I didn't know his last name, so I was like, maybe that's the John that says hi.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, that's
cool.
him. That's him. Yeah.
All right, got it.
He was on and got off just a few minutes ago, so right before Jason did.
All right, cool.
So
all right, so then I was listening.
This week.
I was kind of listening to when I was in the green room to this Lincoln Riley talk. So I thought for sure that it was like divine intervention that my next game was going to be between Rutgers and USC.
Boy, I don't know how you can pick this game. Like, this is such a tough. Like, both teams, Rutgers has been playing like crap since the 4th game of the year.
Yeah.
And USC has blown every lead they've ever had in their entire life, I think, this season.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're like 0-3 against the spread.
So, yeah, I mean, every lead they have, they blow. I mean, in the 4th quarter. I'm not talking about in the 1st quarter. I'm talking about in the 4th quarter. So how in the world do you pick this game is what I want to know.
Well, you know what I think it comes down to ultimately? It is going to be the injury bug here for Rutgers. Right now, Rutgers on that defensive line, there is nothing there. Like zero there. Zero. I just think there is no way.
For sure.
Yeah, I think there's no way that they're, getting to, Miller Moss. I don't think so. I also feel like that this gives them plenty of opportunity to just kind of go ahead and boom, 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 right down the field. So I think this is the time where I'm going to go ahead and, take the Fighting Lincoln Riley's and his $65 million payout. But yeah, I mean,
what's the point spread on this one?
It's it's 14.5, right? And sometimes when I see, the 14.5, that's a good indication that Vegas thinks that this is going to be a big one, right? A 17, a 21. That's what that little half point there means to me also. Both of these teams are terrible against the spread, so it's not like there's really anything, there. But there is this overall offensive defensive efficiency, right? This overall number, it does favor USC by 28.7%. So again, I feel like when injuries on defense, plus I got a team with the better efficiency overall, especially on the offensive side, I'm going to go ahead and take the home team here. No blowing a 14-point lead this time.
I have to say, you do use a lot more analytics than I do. Doing this, and sometimes that comes out right, and then sometimes it's the other way. You never know. But
you know what? That's why these are 50-50 coin flips, right?
At times the analytics does work. Yeah, it does work at times. So and you use that a little bit more than I do. I was just simply saying, you look at these two teams, and you're just like, wow, how could I lay money on either one of these teams? Like, they both have been terrible.
Right. That is accurate.
You do bring up some good points.
Well, that's what I try to do.
Because, Rutgers, has been down some people, and I think that's why they have been playing terrible, to be honest with you, because they started out like 4-0.
Well, yeah, I mean, because look, what were they doing back then?
The train just left.
Well, they were running Monangai
Yeah.
constantly, and for whatever reason, they're not just relying on him. I don't know if he's a little dinged up. There's something going on there, because if it was me, I mean, I'd just give that guy the rock all the time, because the quarterback for Rutgers, he's not very good. I mean, he just isn't. So it's one of those, like, they have to go ahead and get out there and go 7-8 yards on first down. If they expect to go, 3rd and long, it's just that's not Rutgers' MO at all.
Right. I got you.
Yeah.
All right. So what about your lock of the week, or your best bet, or whatever you want to call it, your lock of the week?
Yeah, it's hard,
What
right?
about
It's
that?
always hard because, I give out picks on so many games and everyone's like, well, what is your favorite? I'm like, I don't know. Right. It's hard because I can give out, 10 winners on the day and my one lock is the one that I lose. Right. So who knows? But I do my best to give you.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. Last year, I didn't have somebody on here like you, so I did a lock of the week every week last year throughout the season. It wasn't good.
Like you said, so how many picks do you give out during the show? Like 20?
Well, so we do 12 games or whatever, and I hit like 65% of my games, my picks for the year.
Yeah.
But my locks, I was like 3 of 12 or something.
Right.
It was bad. Like it was bad.
Yeah. I have people ask me, I was like, give me your best. I'm like, well, I'll give you my best statistical, right? And that doesn't mean that always wins. But here it is. Are you guys ready for it?
I wasn't good. I promise. Yeah. I am.
All right, here we go. It's going to be between, that's right, call me Count Chocula, BYU versus UCF, right? So we got this Big 12 team. I love them. I love their defense. BYU, Retzlaff. He's been, I don't know, impressive. 16 touchdowns. He's had to go ahead and go through some diversity coming back after being down last week. We have this guy, RJ Harvey, though, that's real good, right? He's one of those that he's put up like 12 touchdowns on the ground. But I just think this is one that I'm taking BYU. It's a little bitty spread, 1.5. So it's one of those you could go ahead and just be on the money line. But again, if I look at overall efficiencies, defensive efficiency, especially, it's 20% better when I'm looking at BYU versus this UCF team. Also, BYU covers usually by about 9.7 points. I mean, so that's a little bit of a leeway there when you're looking at some point differential against the spread. So I'm going to look for BYU to continue to roll.
I kind of like this pick, Mindy. This BYU team,
as long as you say I'm doing okay, that's all that matters to me.
I kind of like this one. I have to say this BYU team has been impressive this year. And I think they have a good path, to be honest, maybe to the college football playoff.
Yeah. They also play in that altitude. I mean, not this time, but, they play in that altitude, and it's a tough place to play there.
It's a tough
plus
place
we
to
have
play.
the maturity of the guys. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough place to play. And if you ever get a chance to see a picture of their stadium, I mean, you can see the mountains and everything in the background. Like it's wild. Yeah, mountain tops. Yeah, like it's wild. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's high up there. You gotta work out.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you see like a broad picture of their stadium, you see like mountain tops and stuff. It's like it's really wild.
It is high elevation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Now this game is on the road, isn't it?
Yeah, so this one is.
That's this UCF game on the road.
This game, it doesn't matter. They're playing in Florida. But I'm just saying, like you were talking about their path overall, and I think that helps them with what they have remaining.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too. I kind of like that pick.
Good.
All right, upset pick
you'll
of
say,
the week.
no, I don't like your pick, so I like it.
I like that one. I do. BYU seems to be playing really well.
That is true.
Yep. So upset pick of the week. So now this one's a little tough to pick what is two, because most of the time here you're picking an underdog to, to beat a heavy favorite or a favorite. So the upset pick, I kind of don't hold. You know what I mean? Like it's a little harder.
You give me a little grace, a little leeway on this play, right? Yeah.
The lock, like I said, you're supposed to be a lock, but like I said, even I was terrible last year, so I can't say anything.
Right. All right. So normally, if I'm doing an upset pick, I've been kind of going, if it's within like a touchdown, right? I've been kind of calling that an upset. But this one, I'm taking a big one.
Right.
I'm taking a big chance. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
All right. Ready for it? Are you ready?
I did call Georgia last week, by the way, but I didn't lock it in.
You don't have to totally show off. All right. It's a big one. 24.5 point spread. Big upset.
Wow. Okay. That's a big one. Yeah.
It is a big one. All right. I got this team winning 23-22. Right now they're 2-0 against the spread. The other team is 0-2 against the spread. These teams match up efficiency-wise, right? Like this, right? And it's going to be Michigan State. Okay. I'm taking Michigan State to upset Michigan at the U. It's one of those that Michigan has not been covering. And when they do, it's only been by about
You are
9
so
points.
right about Michigan not covering. Michigan has been horrible this year covering spreads.
Yeah.
They even have not in the wins. Good. And yeah. You're right about that.
I feel like it's a little bit of a big.
I got a buddy that's bet them 3 times.
Yeah.
I got a buddy that's bet them 3 times, and he keeps basically moaning and complaining. I'll put it that way.
After you say quit, stop it.
Yeah. And I keep telling him, I said, when are you going to quit? When are you going to learn? Like, they're not covering. Don't bet Michigan. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those deals, right? When you have 2 teams that are lining up efficiency-wise exactly the same, where there's no real edge, a team that hasn't been winning much, that's been struggling. You got history in the past, right?
So high?
That's what I don't know either. I don't know. Why is it?
I don't really understand. Is it at the big? I guess it's got to be at the big house, right?
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
To be,
and they're just down after losing to Illinois. I know it's a big game to get up for, but I don't see Michigan really, doing all that much. So I'm going to take a chance on a big one with the 24.
That's an odd spread, to be honest with you. 24.
Right. I'm going to play that spread.
And I haven't looked at this.
I think they can win.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's an odd spread for sure. 100%. They're not covering that spread.
Yeah, it's a bunch.
If I'm betting,
I was like, now I'm worried. I'm
like,
did I have it wrong? I don't think I do, but I better make sure.
If I'm dropping money on that one, I'm betting Michigan State covers that spread.
Yeah, right. That's what I said. Now I feel like I have to make sure I have it right, that my numbers were accurate. You got me thinking. What's wrong with that?
It's just.
No. It's not 24.
Wild spread.
It's not 24. It's 4.
I thought you said 24. I thought, wow.
I did say 24. So my notes, I wrote down 24. I really did. I promise.
Oh, okay.
I did.
John says, 24. Tell Mindy I missed her.
After this, you guys are firing me. I'm sure of it.
I thought for sure. Wow,
I totally messed that up, you guys. I totally messed it up. You're gonna have zero faith in me from here on out. I wrote down 24, but it's literally
Mindy,
4.
To be honest with you, I haven't even looked at the spreads this week, so you're ahead of me. So
by barely, you can tell. Barely. Hi, John. How are you? Good to see you. Oh, goodness. Yeah. So anyway, I still like this upset pick when it's only 4.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're picking the upset. You wasn't going with the spread anyway, to be honest.
No.
But
I did say I did like
here.
literally write down 4.5. So I don't know what I was thinking, obviously.
Well, I'll forgive you because you were looking at the upset, not really the spread here. But
That's
when
correct.
you said 24, I thought, wow, that's a hell of a spread right there.
On? Oh,
like what in the world? Am I missing something?
So John wants to know what happened to Nebraska. It was called turnovers.
Yeah, that's a fair question.
Yeah,
that's
it was called turnovers and second road trip ever for Raiola.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like if Nebraska would have went down, right? Instead of fumbling at the 4-yard line where they would have been down by like just 7, instead it went the other way, and now suddenly you're down like 21. You know what I mean? So
21.
Yeah. It went real bad. But I am not totally positive that Raiola arm is healthy. I'm not convinced. I think he might have a little bit of a dead arm. He's good at throwing it into the ground.
Yeah. I mean that's true. I don't think offensively they have looked the same the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Sure.
They won 14-7 the week before that. But I will say, I thought Indiana was going to win this one. To be honest,
I had them winning by like 14.
But I had no idea that it was going to be 56-7. I mean,
that was rather embarrassing. Well, at that point, I was also, I don't care if in college you run the score up all day long. Like, I don't care. But I was surprised that they kept their starters in so long, But I feel like in college, anything goes because it might be one guy's one time to ever score. And so let him have his day at that. So I'm never upset at teams running up the score.
Well, it's a good thing for you last week anyway.
Right. Exactly.
All right, Mindy. Well, I appreciate you being here with me. I've probably kept you a little bit longer than I tell you that I will, but
that's okay.
So hopefully you block off a little bit of time. So yeah,
I do. Yeah.
All right, Mindy. We will see you next week, and I hope the best. We both have some wins this week, and I'm not talking about. I'm talking about betting. I'm talking about betting. Bringing home some money.
That's right. Let's get it.
Yeah. All right, man. Goodness. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks.
All right. All right, guys. That was Mindy from OG Cappers, and she does our Ace in the Hole segment for us here on Tuesday nights, and we kind of dive into some betting and some best bets and things with Mindy here at College SportsCast. So that is going to wrap up our show. And this has been the Big Fuss Show. And we hope that you enjoyed it. And we will see you later in the week. We will do our game day pick'ems on Friday night like normal this week. May even have a surprise guest, a pretty big guest. I believe he's going to be here this week. But I'll leave it as a surprise for now for this week. And we will see you Friday night. And I may open up with a Friday night game between Boise State and UNLV because it's a late game Friday night. And if we do it first, I think we'll get our pick in. So I may start with that. But we will see you on Friday night. Y'all have a good night.
Can I please have your attention?
What's all the commotion around here?
What are you talking about?
Let them yap at you.
It's actually very exciting.